Formerly, most of you, many of you know Boulder Community Hospital, but the reason for the shift was really to take an overall comprehensive approach. A hospital is where you go if you have an acute emergent need, typically, or you're giving birth or something like that. So we're taking a broad perspective. I have the honor of facilitating this morning's panel, Breakout, which is anticipating talent needs. And I really love the focus we have this year. You know, this is don't know how many years we've been doing the Economic Summit, but it's been quite a few, and it's always very well attended, and I think it's a highlight for not just the Boulder community, but for the region. And we have great participation from the private sector, the public sector, the not-for-profit sector. So I want to welcome you to Anticipating Talent Needs at this year's Boulder Economic Summit. Boulder's talent-driven economy, and I'd say for the Boulder region, is really undergoing a demographic shift, and we are all pretty much aware of this, or we should be, as millennials. And I still need a better definition of what that exactly means, and hopefully our panel members will, zero in more on what that exactly means, what are the attributes. But as they enter the workforce, and baby boomers, like me, retire, but I have little kids, so I'm not about to retire. I'm on the 92-year-old plan, something like that. But we in this region are at the forefront of this shift. We have a very desirable quality of life, which is not a surprise because we have 364 sunny days. But seriously, our weather, our climate, our mountains, our natural attributes really attracts millennials, world-class athletes, outdoor enthusiasts. I think people that are interested in the arts, culture, top talented prospects. Aligning the workplace with the evolving workforce presents unique challenges, which is no surprise to anyone in the audience or to our panel. Understanding how this new workforce achieves the work-life balance, which we all struggle for, will be critical to establishing positive relationships that would benefit your business. And if you're in the private sector, you really do focus on the bottom line, not that people that are in the not-for-profit or government don't try to do the same thing. Our speaker and panelists today will offer valuable insights into addressing generational challenges in the workplace and offer ways to match the workplace structure and culture to this changing workforce. The Anticipating Talent Needs Breakout will begin with a presentation by Betsy Stevens about the topic from Google's perspective. Betsy flew in from Mountain View, and really appreciate that. It's sunnier in Mountain View than in here. And then that'll be followed, Betsy's presentation will be followed by a short presentations by our panelists from Spiro Zaya Group and a recent graduate from CU Boulder right here. And we are intending to leave ample time for Q&A because we really want this to be a dialogue between our attendees and our presenters. Now, the full bios for the presenters are in the program, so I'm not going to read to you and tell you all about them. I really do encourage you to do that. They are very impressive individuals, as are many of you folks, but I really do urge you to do that and get to know them a little bit better. And I am going to be kind of a taskmaster in terms of keeping us on time. When we do get to the Q&A, one of the things that I do ask you, and this is a real bugaboo of mine, is ask a question. In the past, sometimes people want to kind of make a little bit of a speech, so really try to avoid that and really focus on asking our panelists your questions. And at this time, I would like to welcome Betsy Stevens to the podium. Betsy is a member of the People Operations team at Google in Mountain View, California, and is an adjunct professor at the University of Bridgeport. Now, I grew up in New York City and also worked in Massachusetts, and Bridgeport is somewhere between the two. But it's not near Mountain View.
Yeah, no, I have an agreement now I can do online.
Online, which is true. Which is part of what we're going to be talking about today. So her areas of interest include all things people strategy, including peak performance, talent management, positive psychology, leadership, teamwork, training, and worker happiness. Betsy, welcome to Boulder.
Thank you.
Come on up.
Great.
I think you are. Yes? Jane Lewis will also be holding up a little sign, and if not,
Yeah.
I'll keep feeding.
Perfect, because I had to end this in here too, like using the mic or not. Am I loud enough without the mic? Should I use the mic?
Probably need the mic because it's recording.
Oh.
Yeah, can you use the mic?
So it's a little bit awkward, but yeah, so I'm just asking that folks keep me on time because I have a tendency to get excited and then I sort of go off script and I talk and talk and talk and talk. Also, if I talk too fast, which is another thing that I do, just like hand up or nose or some signal to me for real-time feedback so that I can adjust. So thank you for the introduction. As Greg said, I'm Betsy Stevens and I work in people operations at Google. That's what we call our, sorry, the mic, our HR department. And yeah, all things people is a passion of mine, which is great because Google also feels very similar to the way that I do. Also, as Frank said, full disclosure, I'm visiting from Mountain View, but I did want to say that I did grow up in Boulder, and I do work with our Thornton office and our Boulder office, and I'm desperately trying to move back to Boulder at some point, so hopefully the Google gods will favor me, and I'll be back here very soon. So I have a very real interest in Boulder issues, and do still feel very connected to this community. Okay, so now that's what I learned. I really love Google, right? Like, it's an incredibly cool place. And one of the major reasons that I really love Google is because I think they get and understand people and talent management. And I wanted to talk about some of the neat things that we do that I think are things that can definitely be replicated and things that we're working on. And also it'd be great to just get feedback also from things that have worked with you guys and thinking about how we can refine and do things better at Google. So Karen May is our VP of People Development, and she has a great quote. Imagine a world where most organizations are the best place to work. Imagine what we could get done on the planet if that were true. So this is very much our vision and inspiration for how we think about people at Google, and it really inspires how we approach our work. So very broadly, we have a very simple people strategy. Basically, we just want all of the best talent. And we know that all of the best talent comes in lots of different forms. So we're very, very thoughtful. We want people who don't have kids, people who will have kids. We want athletes, we want millennials, we want baby boomers, we want dog lovers, we want people who went to top colleges, and we want people who didn't go to college at all. We want everyone. So our strategy is really about creating an environment where a one-size-fits-all environment where anyone can feel happy, connected, and at home for the long term in our organization. So that is our high-level strategy. So I wanted to talk about specifically some of the things that we do to help meet this objective. And I wanted to start with hiring. I think most people can appreciate that hiring is an incredibly important part of your people strategy. And at Google, we feel exactly the same way. Like, that is the most important thing that we do. We feel like if you get the right people through the door, then all the other organizational challenges, all the other HR problems, easy peasy, right? Get a bunch of great, amazing people, and you'll figure it out. So the two things that I wanted to point out that I think are relevant to this discussion are things that we've started doing differently recently that I think are working out really well for us. So when we evaluate candidates, we look for 4 general things, like general cognitive ability, leadership, role-related knowledge, and Googliness. Like, that's not anything really new or exciting. But the way we think about general cognitive ability has changed recently. So previously, when Google started, they really thought about, they would look at metrics like GPAs and where did you go to school, and sort of that typical, polished resume. And over the past few years, they've realized that actually those metrics don't really predict what we thought they would predict. So there's been a very open mind about now what we're looking for in candidates. So now we're looking for, in our job descriptions, we'll say we want you to have a BA or a master's degree or a PhD or equivalent experience. And we actually genuinely mean that because we know that talent can come in lots of different forms. And it doesn't actually matter if you went to an amazing school. That might be one interesting data point, but we know that that's not the most important thing. And actually what we're looking for is raw talent, right? We're looking for really smart people who can solve real world problems and have shown that they have a track record of doing that. So I love that shift now is part of our culture, right? Like, we're really opening our minds about who we want to invite to interview and join our company. The other thing that I want to talk about is our idea of googliness, which I'm sure whenever you hear about anyone from talk from Google, they always talk about googliness. And the idea around this is like, we're looking for a culture fit, but for us, culture fit does not mean not code for like me. So I've worked in other companies where culture fit means that everybody's sort of the same prototype, right? And we are really, really clear that that is absolutely not in our DNA. So when we're looking for fit, we're looking for people who are actually different. We really love this idea of diversity. And so when we encourage people when they go through their interviewing training to look for different things. We're just looking for amazing, interesting people who fit in these high level, like smart, interesting categories, and that we actually encourage you to seek out people who, we think will add something different to our company. So I really love that idea as well. So that's a little bit about our hiring that I think is interesting. So if you're going to talk about Google, and you're talking about attracting talent, you have to talk about kind of our work design and perks, which is what Google is sort of known for, and what makes it like super fun to work there. And again, this is part of our umbrella one-size-fits-all strategy and sort of anticipating our talent needs. So food, which is a big part of our culture, we have lots of free food. We talk about the Google 15, right? So similar to the game, the freshman 15. We have lots of wonderful food in Mountain View. We have breakfast, lunch, and dinner. In the Boulder office, we made a conscious decision to serve only breakfast and lunch because we want the message to be like, please go home to your families in the evening. We know you may need to work there, but please, this is the message. But all of our food is amazing. We have all different kinds of healthy options. Personally, I'm a vegan. I have no problem finding amazing food every single day. We're very, very thoughtful about lots of different dietary preferences and dietary restrictions. So again, just making sure that everyone feels really comfortable. We also have micro kitchens. So our micro kitchens are little food and snack, little cafes in most of our workspaces. And we've designed those to really create an environment where people can connect. So we have whiteboards, and we have benches, and we have little cafe tables, and the idea is that you want to hang out there, and you want to bump into colleagues that you don't normally see, and sit down and have a conversation, and to really sort of foster that culture and also that cross-collaboration idea. And in terms of lifestyle, which is a big thing, and I think Google is really, really doing well, we're very committed to sort of a fitness, healthy, active lifestyle. So in Mountain View, we have tons of gyms, and we have classes. In Boulder, too, you can work out. But it's also what I love about Google. It's totally acceptable to book in your calendar in the middle of the day, run. I'm going for a run from 10 to 11. We have showers. It's often times where a group of people will say, we're going to go for a bike ride in the middle of the day. Completely culturally acceptable. And actually very much part of everybody's everyday life. And the other thing that's neat about that, too, is you can wear whatever you want to work, right? So I'm wearing my running shoes. One of my favorite stories is one of the directors in his front office, he bikes to work in his full spandex, and then he just wears his full spandex all day long. And that's completely acceptable, right? Because it's just part of our culture. So you can wear your workout gear. You can wear, if you want to be a little bit more buttoned up, you can really wear whatever you want. And again, it's part of this idea that we want this to work for your lifestyle. We want this to be a part of your long-term plan. So I love that. Other little things that we do to try to make life at Google more sustainable, we do a lot of OnSite services. So these are things that Googlers do have to pay for, but we're just trying to make their life easier. So in the Mountain View campus, for example, you can get oil changes, dry cleaning, haircuts. The other day I was looking for a notary, it's there. And again, the idea is just that we get that life and work has got to be better integrated and more fluid. And again, completely acceptable for you to do an oil change at 9 a.m. You can put it on your calendar, it's public, nobody will even bat an eye, which I think is great. And then also something that you may have heard about is we're a very dog-friendly office. So many of our offices, you can bring your dog in, people do bring their dogs in. I don't have a dog, and I'm kind of scared of dogs. I'm more of a cat person, so we're also sensitive to people who may find that distracting. So we do monitor that. But again, the idea is we want this to be, we really see it as integration, right? Like this is your life, and being part of the Google family and the work that we do at Google is supposed to be sustainable, right? It's supposed to be enjoyable. It's supposed to just feel like home. Lots of cool things. So then on the people development side, and I apologize, this feels like a long list of all the stuff we do, but I really do think these are neat ideas, and want to sort of make sure that you guys hear them. People development, so thinking about some of our younger workers, career progression, people development is always top on their list. So we have some cool programs at Google where we do Googler to Googler learning. So Googlers can teach any class that they want on any topic. So whether it is teaching a new program, coding language, or if it's how to buy a house, or it's wine tasting, or a foreign language, like unfortunately we have the scale to do this. We have the opportunity to sort of learn from other Googlers. We also have some really cool benefits around continuing your education. So if you want to enroll in an online course, or you want to go back to school, you want to further your skills, or you'd like to move into another part, we really, really encourage that. Which again is another key piece of our strategy. So this idea of people switching jobs, especially younger people. We're fine with you switching jobs. We'd like you to switch jobs internally, and we try to make that as easy as possible. And by really giving people the opportunity to gain additional skills. Also, our benefits, I think are pretty cool. We're very sensitive to thinking about, our maternity leave is particularly generous. We also have caregiver benefits. We are generous on our paternity leave. One of the neat things that we do is that you can take your time whenever you want. So I see this with new dads all the time, is that they'll maybe take like a week of paternity leave when the baby's first born, and then maybe they'll work for a month, and then they'll maybe take 2 weeks, and then they'll want to come back for a month. But again, this idea is really about like, let's make this work for you. So we're going to give you this chunk of time, and that you can use it to your benefit, and think about like what works best for you and your family needs. Again, I think that that's been really helpful in retaining, if anyone had 2 little kids, like, you go through having a baby and your life really changes, and you want a company that is going to support you through that period of time, because we know that it's a key period of time, and we know that it doesn't last forever also. Having kids, you have them for a long time. The tiny baby phase, that doesn't last forever. Also on the LGBT benefits, feel very, very strongly about this. So we've recently changed our healthcare policy. So in addition to offering coverage for same-sex couples and spouses, we also now pay the tax change. But I think it would be really difficult to do something specific to your firm or bank, and none of the other ones to do it, because you're right, because the deadlines and the competitiveness and the ingrained culture. I mean, I don't envy you. That sounds hard. But let me know how it goes. I'd love to find out.
But thinking about the entire industry can be very overwhelming. So extremely valid. Can you be a disruptive or a challenger brand for whatever entity you're representing? And what is the small thing that then you do, and then maybe there's press on it, maybe the people that you've just hired are like, oh my gosh, this is so different. Here's the one thing that we're doing differently because we believe in it. And you start with small entities can make a difference and can be disruptive. It is not easy. And you'll need support to do it, but I feel like you can do that. I sense that you know a lot of things. I sense it's the brightness of your pursuit.
I feel that
right. But I think that everyone has the potential to be a leader, and leaders know how to affect the things within their grasp, because they know that is something that can be visible very quickly. So what is within your grasp quickly, that then you can then show this was effective. Like look what this did. Here's the exact ROI. Right here's the proof. Here's the evidence. So I think don't be dissuaded by the idea of, oh my gosh, I can't change the whole industry, even though that is incredibly valid. Disruptor and challenger brands, there are many books written about that because it's real.
We are at our time, and that went by incredibly quickly, but please join me in thanking our panelists and our audience for your participation. I'm sure the other facilitators feel as fortunate, but I feel very fortunate to have worked with you guys this morning. And thank you so much for being here. And best wishes to all of you especially those of us new in our roles. Good travels, Judah. Thank you all.